I think with Dr. Hew, we are always battling perception versus reality, especially in your space, right? And you're always trying to fix the bridge between perception and reality. When someone walks into your clinic asking to look better, what are they really asking for? And I want you to be very honest.
All right, thanks for having me, Ethel, by the way, conversation. And I want to claim a little bit of credit for this session today because I spoke with Ethel because she handles my PR for my clinic, my 4 clinics around in Klang Valley. Yes. And I said, we have to do some articles, give me one good one a month. And then she focused on beauty. Okay, said, do this stuff on beauty. And then when she first sent me the article to read, I was like, wow, there's more and more and more. There's like really deep dive into beauty. And she also interviewed, Sanjana and Eileen, and also gave some of my quotes. So I was like, wow, blown away also. So I'm glad this events, right, have come about, because of this, right? Okay, so so also I must say that my fellow interviewees, right, are also very authentic. You can see from what they say, right? And for the longest time, actually, in aesthetic medicine, there are a lot of issues. I mean, we could discuss the whole few days. There's a conference that can be convene, right, to discuss about all these issues. I mean, there's body dysmorphic syndrome, right? There's expectations versus reality. There's idea of perfectionism and all these kind of things. But at the end of the day, as a doctor, right, according to the Hippocratic Oath, if a patient comes to see me, right, first of all, I must relate to the patient. I must provide a good consultation, right? And then after understanding and communicating what the patient wants, right, and I feel them and I sort of get an idea of what the message is, the first thing to do is do no harm, right? So which is actually quite difficult to see nowadays in a lot of clinics happening around the world. In Korea, in Taiwan, in China, right? They're all, right? I think it's not wrong to say that a lot of these clinics are overdoing it and actually causing harm to people at large, right? In a way, sometimes subtle, sometimes maybe permanent. So when a person comes to see me at the clinic, like I say, first of all, I have to understand where they're coming from and understand what the problem is. It's very easy for some patients to come to see me in the clinic and they say, I want a little bit of Botox. It's easy, right? I mean, that's so easy. I could just do it for them. I want a bit of filler. I want this thing filled. But always at the clinics, right, what we want to do at the end of the day to get the patient to get a good result and accomplish their goals is actually first to see what they actually need, not just what they want, right? So from that point of view, it should be doctor-led, right? It's patient-centric, yes. We always look at the patient as the customer, as the client, as the patient that we have a duty of care to. But first, do no harm. And secondly, we need to also make sure that we give the advice because we're the professionals. Yeah. So yeah, I think I've gone a long way. There's a lot more to talk about. But anyway, please ask me another question.
But that's right. So from what I have seen of our interactions, and I've known you now for the last, I think, 4 or 5 years now, correct? Is that the actual time spent with the patient to get them to be real. I think that is the key, Dr. Hew. You're being very modest, actually, because I know that the industry is not really in that space of how do you say, you in India we say you get a goat and you cut the throat kind of thing, right? But the differentiation is the fact that you actually will sit down to understand if it's really required or not, and you are brave enough to say when it's not required. And I think that is a huge differentiation, right? Especially in aesthetic medicine. Thank you.
The thing is, we have to draw the line because, like I mentioned, right, there's this thing about body dysmorphic syndrome. Sometimes patients come in requesting and asking for much more than they need, and actually, they in their mind when they look in the mirror, they don't actually they could be very pretty, right, gorgeous, but look in the mirror, they don't see it themselves, and they keep trying to fix things. And we've seen so many examples in Hollywood and beyond, right, among the royalties or whatever, and people go wrong, drastically wrong, right? Their faces get bloated up, they get disfigured. So so there's always that kind of thing happening. And curiously enough, I just came across an article that I read just before this that said that actually aesthetic doctors themselves have a risk of having body dysmorphic syndrome, and it's higher than the population risk. So the population risk, maybe among the general population, about 9 to 15% of people have this problem, right? But among the doctors, apparently aesthetic doctors especially 16%. So it's, a few percentage points higher. So some aesthetic doctors can also fall into a kind of a trap. So it goes both ways. It's quite interesting. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. I don't know if you've watched this latest TV series called The Beauty, which is like horror and sci-fi as well, right? Yeah. I watched 5 series and I was like, it was a really kind of would actually put you off the fact that you get so obsessed about wanting to stay young eternally with such kind of dry consequences of body destruction and stuff like that. So yeah, please advocate, Dr. Hew. All right, which brings me to the next question. Are we seeing a rise in self-awareness or a rise in self-dissatisfaction driven by constant comparison?
Yeah, I know with social media nowadays and the algorithms feeding it, I think people are getting really confused. We're talking about beauty as a new cultural currency, right? So we're talking about commoditization. Are we talking about monetizing? Right? I mean, of course, we know all this is happening. Beauty has been commoditized. Beauty can be monetized. There's value in beauty. There is a reward if you are beautiful, right? But the thing is, people are confusing the whole message, and because the world is getting more complicated, and the message is just getting very garbled. It's crazy. Look at AI now, and half the accounts on Instagram are fake, and some of them are portraying ideal versions of beauty. They've got pretty ladies doing all kinds of things that normal human beings wouldn't do. I mean, to try and, attract attention. And that is how social media has really garbled everything and it's really getting confusing.
Yeah, correct.
But there always is that beauty, and I think there's more self-awareness, like you rightly say, because the information is out there for people to know that, okay, this is beautiful, this is not beautiful, and now people are seeing everything. If you were, let's say, 50 years ago in a village, right, you have no access to magazines, right? Then what you see is what you have. That's all. And this is the most beautiful person in the village. But now you're comparing across the world, across cultures, across ethnicities, right? And then along the way, before the social media boom was so massive, we had these courses. I was part of it because I was a trainer, and I also heard from very very wise older plastic surgeons in the past, about measuring beauty. Because in medicine, we want to have a scale. We also need a scale. How do we make person more beautiful and not the other way around, so that we have a better chance of success, right? So one of it is actually the golden ratio, right? But if you follow the golden ratio, actually things can go also out of whack. And it's also not true. So at the end of the day, a doctor also has to have an eye for beauty. Yeah. So I would say a bit of both. Self-awareness is there, but the message is getting constantly garbled and may get more garbled in the coming years. And with AI coming into the picture and creating a lot of content deluge, right? There's a lot of misinformation going on.
Correct. So which it creates a lovely segue actually. So are we treating features or are we treating insecurities shaped by culture?
Yeah, I think when people come to see me, right, they generally have a thought in mind about what is wrong with their face or their skin. They have pigmentation spot, they've got wrinkles, they're aging, right? Or they want to look better. Maybe they're going through a divorce. They want to enhance something so that the husband sees something. It has happened. We know these things, right? There's also older CEOs, right? They've been laid off. They want to find another job. They want to look younger. So there's always this kind of a thing. What's the question again?
Yeah. Right. So are we treating features or are we treating insecurities shaped by culture?
So always, right? Always people come to see me because they have a little bit of something they want to improve. Why? Because the feeling is they have a little bit of insecurity, self-doubt, right? They want to get something fixed, which is easy to do. But if you want to see what's the end goal, right, and actually really help these people and keep these patients coming to see me for years, and I have got patients who come to see me for decades already, you have to click and understand what's going through their minds. Now it's very easy because there are also a lot of places, clinics, centers, and so on, which can tap into these very simple things that can be fixed, right? You could do a facial to do something, solve some acne problem. You could do some extraction. You could do maybe a little bit Botox, right, in a very junior doctor kind of clinic setting. But that's all they are feeding. But when you're looking at really looking at the problem, right, there is some things behind it. Some people are looking for validation. Some people are looking to reduce their self-doubt. Some people are looking to be authentic, right? They want to say, okay, I want to look like how I feel. Or some people are seeking validation that they are authentic. So they we can go around and around. Yeah.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. See, I told you, honest answers from Dr. Hew. Right. Lovely. Do you ever say no? And how does that moment when you say no look like?
Yeah, I mean, as I go on, with more experience in the industry, it's very easy for me not to say no. I can just say yes to everything because I can always spin it one way or the other. Right? And we can play around. But the thing is, at the end of the day, like I say, do no harm, right? And number two is, there are many other numbers, but we have to also look at the ethics of medicine. And this is a little bit of a problem because a lot of money is being poured now into aesthetics, right? Into beauty, how to look beautiful, into plastic surgery, into aesthetic clinics. And sometimes a lot of these places are run by businessmen with the motive of making money, right?
Yeah.
So that is when also these things become garbled. And when we talk to the regulators, we tell KKM, Ministry of Health, hey, look, you shouldn't allow this to happen. But they feel that, oh, these are market forces. But market forces can bring everything, very skewed in a bad way for the whole of society.
Correct.
So, yeah.
Yeah, wow. Do you feel that there is does beauty give you freedom or does it create another kind of responsibility?
Oh, yeah. No, I think, of course, a bit of both, just like, what Sanjana and Eileen were saying. Beauty gives a responsibility because a beautiful person, whether it's a guy or a girl, male or female, it can create influence. Right, so that's why they're called influencers. Not all of them are beautiful inside or outside, but it can influence society. It can launch 1,000 ships, right? So we've known in the past, right? Why? How did this thing about beauty and judging beauty come about in humans a long time ago? In the earlier days, of course, when it's about matter of survival. There is no one really looks at beauty. It's just survival, right? You do your work and you survive. But after a certain time, when people organize in the communities, right, they started judging a bit of beauty. And one of the ways that beauty was used, what was it used to judge? It was used to judge health. Right? If you want a healthy spouse partner, to breed, right?
That's right.
You must look kind of have certain features, organized, symmetrical, right? Don't have any kind of syndrome kind of face. Yeah. So that. And then now in this current situation, beauty has been used for many years to sell things and all that. So that definitely there's some responsibility when you have got beauty on your side, yeah. And then so it's both a responsibility, but the freedom is if you've already achieved a certain level of beauty and you're comfortable in your own skin. I think that's the freedom I think we're looking for.
Okay, great.
From beauty, from the medical point of view, right, it's actually optimization. If the body is performing well, like what Sanjana said, if the skin is performing well, all the cells are healthy, good microbiome, then you actually, you actually be a picture of health, and that is beautiful by itself. So what I have to unlearn probably was when I was younger, I had certain fixed perceptions about beauty, right? Maybe because of what I was shown through TV and all that. So when I came into this industry, at first, it was as a man, right? Male kind of eyes. I didn't really see details and specifics. So I had to relearn all these kind of things. And now I think I'm a little bit more, not saying judgmental, but aware, right? That there are so many different aspects, yeah.